Hi guys, my name's Mark Victor and I'm a criminal defense attorney. I just want to let you know right up front, I'm not here to brainwash you into or out of any belief. I'm here to tell you like it is. I'm not your parent. Your parents may not even like what I have to say. I'm here to tell you the truth. I'm not their agent. I'm a criminal defense attorney here to tell you some things you should just know. I mean, I realize you're a teenager now and you got a lot more freedoms, but freedom comes with responsibility. And you should know people under 18, they go to jail sometimes. In our state, minors can be taken to adult court. That's because in Arizona, it doesn't go by how old you are at the time you commit the crime. It goes by how old you are at the time the prosecutor files the case. And usually they've got 7 years to file the case. First off, you should know you got to take responsibility for what you do. Here's the 2 fastest ways you can ruin your life. Number 1, guns. Simply taking a gun out and scaring somebody with a gun, taking it out and waving it around. If somebody gets scared by your brandishing of a firearm, that's a very serious offense, one that carries mandatory prison with it. Don't mess around with guns. Number 2, DUIs with an accident. I'm going to talk about DUIs in just a second, but for right now, it would suffice to say, don't drink and drive, don't smoke marijuana and drive, because if you get into an accident while you're impaired by any drug, even to the slightest degree, you're going to be charged with a very serious aggravated assault, and that is mandatory prison. It's a really fast way to ruin a good part of the rest of your life. Let me tell you a little bit about traffic stops. First off, on a traffic stop, you shouldn't get a traffic stop in the first place. Don't get pulled over by the police. At least don't be a free stop. Driving with your lights out, or having expired registration, or a safety problem, or speeding, or even a bad turn, those are free stops for a police officer. And it really doesn't matter what the police officer was thinking. If you could have been pulled over for any one of those things, it'll be a valid stop. On a traffic stop, keep in mind lots of things can go wrong. They're very tense, they can be stressful, they're very high risk for police officers, and things can escalate very quickly. Nothing at that traffic stop is going to improve your life, and there's almost unlimited downside. But if you find yourself at a traffic stop, keep in mind this. The officer is going to evaluate you. So stay in your car, stay calm, be respectful, keep cool, and move slowly. Never seem upset. Keep your hands on the wheel at 10 and 2. This isn't a social call. You should also spend just a little bit of time thinking about evaluating the police officer. They're not all the same. Some are very friendly and respectful to you and calm. Others can be sneaky. They're trying to gather evidence against you. They may ask you things like, do you know how fast you were driving? And some can be very highly motivated to find things that you're doing wrong. So act accordingly. Do not excite the police officer. Keep calm. Now, let me tell you some things that you have to do when you get pulled over. These are must-dos. Number 1, when you see those lights come on behind you, you got to pull over. Number 2, provide the documents. You know what I'm talking about. License, registration, proof of insurance. If you have a concealed weapons permit, which you probably don't have at this stage in your life, but you may someday, then if the officer asks for it, you got to provide that. If there is a firearm in the car, and I hope none of you have firearms in the car unless you're old enough and qualified to handle a firearm, you have to give that firearm to the police officer if the police officer asks. And of course, if the police officer tells you to get out of the car, you have to get out of the car, and so do any passengers. And you have to remain at the scene. You're not free to leave. Of course, you can always ask the police officer, but very likely the officer will tell you you are not free to leave. Now let's talk about some things you should not do. Don't volunteer any information. Don't lie. And don't answer any questions. Now I'm saying do this in a nice way. Don't be a jerk, but just say, hey, look, I've got a friend, Mark Victor, he's a lawyer. He told me not to answer any questions. Definitely don't argue with the police officer, and don't do those games on the side of the road. You know what I'm talking about, standing on one foot, touching your nose. You may not have a legal right to refuse them, but you do have the power to refuse them, and you're not going to lose your license if you don't agree to those ones on the side of the road. Don't consent to any searches. Let me say it again. Don't consent to any searches. Now, things you should do. Determine if and when you are free to leave. Ask to call an attorney immediately, and if the officer gives you a complaint, go ahead and sign it. Now, I told you I was going to say a few things about DUI. Let me tell you about DUI very quickly. There are 3 different versions of DUI in Arizona. The A1, the A2, and the A3. Just hitting them very quickly. The A1 is any drug. It can be alcohol, it could be marijuana, it could be prescription drugs, non-prescription drugs, something you bought at Walgreens. Any drug, if it affects your ability to operate that motor vehicle to the slightest degree, you're committing a DUI. The A2 is having an alcohol concentration at the legal limit, which is 0.08. The smartest thing to do here, don't drink alcohol and drive at all. Get a cab, use a designated driver, don't be stupid. On the A3, if you've got any trace amount of marijuana in your system, or any of the active metabolites of marijuana in your system, it doesn't even matter if you're not impaired, that's a DUI. Punishments can be very, very serious, and if you're under 21, you're looking at a 2-year license suspension. 2 years, your license is gone. It's really easy to take a DUI. Don't even take one sip and then drive a motor vehicle.